Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by My TV Choice app. Download it today at mytvchoice.com. First rumor on today's show, are commercials the best thing about television? This rumor, zero Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. Get rid of commercials with the My TV Choice app. Download it today at mytvchoice.com. All right, let's get into some mailbag questions. Now, I want you guys to always interact with me on Instagram and on Twitter. So my first few mailbags are from Twitter, and this one's coming in from the Chill Observer. Bigger impact on the team, AB, Mr. Big Chest, or Trent Brown? First off, I'm going to start with the Trent Brown signing for the Raiders. It was a 4-year deal, $66 million, $37 million guaranteed. What does this move mean? This move means Colton Miller, who was our first-round pick last year, will slide over to the right tackle position. Now, these are the guys who are going to be protecting Derek Carr, and they better do a better job than what they did last year, giving up 52 sacks, the 5th most in the NFL. Heck, when you give up only 42 sacks in 2016 and 2017, the big guys up front, you better step up. And Trent Brown, I'm looking at you because we're paying you $16.5 million. You better protect Derek Carr. You better keep him up off the turf. Second part of that question, Trent Brown or AB? Well, we signed Anotnio Brown to a hell of a lot of money. 3 years, $50 million, $19 million per year. That is if he can make it up with his incentives at that $54 million spot. We know he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Heck, last year, career-high 15 touchdowns, had over 100 catches. He's had over 1,000 yards in 6 straight years, and now he is the lead dude in this wide receiver depth chart. All I'm saying is, I think if you would look at Tom Downey and then you look at me, I think that's a comparison of the Raiders' old wide receiver depth chart to the new one. Tom, get at me. I love the addition of Antonio Brown. I think it's going to bring a lot of swagger to this team, which we can all agree the Raiders definitely need, okay? And I look at Trent Brown. I look at Antonio Brown. But I want to know from you, because this show is not about me. It's about from Raider Nation. Bigger impact, okay? Antonio Brown or Trent Brown? Or you can just type B for Brown. No, that's cheating. Type AB for Antonio or type TB for Trent. Okay, don't type TB for Tom Brady because that's a tuck rule. Tuck that. I'm typing my AB because I think Antonio is the bigger addition. The next mailbag coming in here from Twitter is from Albert. Go follow Albert at Burnham Man or something 18. Looks like he drives trucks. All good. All right, so will Charles Woodson be a coach for the Raiders soon? You know, I like the idea, but at the end of the day, I don't know if Charles Woodson has even hinted that he even wants to be a coach. It's a tough job. I think all the time we hear of ex-players and then think of them as being coaches. Being an NFL coach at any kind of level is a lot of work. And maybe, since he doesn't have a job at the moment, maybe he wants to be enjoying, I don't know, unemployment. I don't know. Charles Woodson, are you going to be a coach? Maybe we should tweet at him. At Charles Woodson. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders Report, the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube. And remember, if you guys want to get some questions on the show, easy way to do it is if you subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report, or hit me up on IG or Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, we're going to go to my dude, SLS Gaming Network, one of my most loyal watchers. And his question is, what should, I think that's we do at halfback position? Either re-sign Lynch, trade for Jordan Howard, sign Jay Ajayi, TJ Yeldon, CJ Anderson, Isaiah Crowell, or draft a new running back. So, luckily for you, SL, since you're one of my loyal watchers, I made a whole bunch of graphics for you. Should we re-sign Beast Mode? We know that he's an unrestricted free agent at age 33, and he ended the season on the IR, and I get it. We've heard multiple reports that say that he wants to return. And I think that he does. I think he wants to finish his career in Oakland, the last season the Raiders will play at the Coliseum. Here's the thing, though. There are multiple rumors that the Raiders are interested in other running backs. One of the running backs that I've been hearing a lot of rumors around, it's Jordan Howard. And I've been asked a ton on IG, on YouTube, everywhere, because the Raiders need a running back, let's face it. And with the Bears looking to potentially trade Howard because he didn't fit the system under Matt Nagy, potentially the Raiders could get a running back who could be cheap. Now, in 2017, he had 9 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. His rookie year, he had over 1,300 yards. Heck, the only running back who had more rushing yards than Jordan Howard his rookie year was Ezekiel Elliott. And I get it. Last year wasn't the greatest year for Howard. But 3.7 yards per carry, 935 rushing yards is still pretty good, considering the main running back for the Raiders last year was Doug Martin, who didn't even hit 800 rushing yards, okay? Second part of that question. Jay Ajayi, or actually it's technically like the 10th part of it. Jay Ajayi to the Raiders. We know Ajayi got hurt last year against the Vikings in week 4. We also know Jay Ajayi has a lot of issues around his knee. Now, the Eagles could bring back Ajayi because it could be cheap. But from what I've seen and from what I've heard, he visited the Colts. They're not interested, and I don't think he's a great fit with the Colts. I like Marlon Mack. I like Jordan Wilkins. I like Nyheim Hines. But in terms of what are the Raiders going to do at the halfback position, re-signing Lynch, at this point, man, like, I'm getting kind of worried about it. Trading for Jordan Howard, if you watch my rumors show, you might see why I don't think that one might happen. Jay Ajayi, I don't personally want him. Then you're looking at TJ Yeldon. He's not an every down running back. Isaiah Crowell, no thank you. Could we potentially be looking at C.J. Anderson again? Like, C.J. Anderson was a running back for us for about a week, right? Only about a week. And I'm kind of surprised that there hasn't been that much interest in Anderson, who averaged 5.3 yards per carry when he stepped in for Todd Gurley. And we can give Todd Gurley and the Rams offense a lot of praise, but at the end of the day, C.J. Anderson, you could argue, was the focal point of that offense and one of the main reasons why they even made it to the Super Bowl. You can think I'm crazy. Todd Gurley was hurt the entire playoff run. Jared Goff laid a big old number 2 in his pants because he was, freaking out a little bit. I think when you look at the Raiders, could they actually be interested in C.J. Anderson? But would C.J. Anderson want to come back to a team that basically kicked him along? I'm not sure. So I'm going to ask you this question, okay? Who will be the Raiders' leading rusher in 2019? Last year it was Doug Martin with 728 rushing yards. Who's going to be the leading rusher for the Raiders this year in 2019? I want you to comment below if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook. If you want to know what I think, hit me up at that little hashtag, or at my Mitchell Renz 365 below. Twitter, last one, from Vantman313. Go follow him at Anthony69. That's the only number that you need to worry about. Gruden hinted about possibly having a tradable player he might use during the draft. Do you think he's referring to Seth Roberts, in quotes, hopefully? So are the Raiders trading Seth Roberts? Man, I sure hope so, because if we can trade Seth Roberts, man, I am all aboard that train, because you guys know that I don't care for Seth Roberts, and not that I dislike Seth Roberts as a person. I'm sure he's a great person. But you can't tell me, when you look at Seth Roberts and say that he's potentially our 5th option as a wide receiver and potentially our 6th or 7th option for Derek Carr, and you want to pay him $4.65 million with a $0 cap hit, tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't. I'll just be simple for you. It doesn't make sense. And why do I think that no team's going to trade for Seth Roberts? Because every NFL team's going to look at the Raiders and be like, why would they pay him $4.65 million when they can just cut him? So if I'm an NFL team, I would never try to trade for Seth Roberts, because the Raiders, in my opinion, should cut him, just like they did Donald Penn, right? I've been saying for weeks that they were going to cut Donald Penn, and I said that he was going to sign with the Texans. What happened? Poor Chucky had signed with the Texans. All right, let's go to Instagram now. Manny has an interesting tagline, which I can't for some reason remember, and it's going to aggravate me, so hang on, Manny. Manny's tagline on Instagram is, "She called me the referee because that was so official." Interesting, Manny. Go follow Manny at Baisley16. What's better for the nation? Keeping the number 4 pick or trading down and getting more picks? Manny, if you watch the show, which you better, so youtube.com/Raiders Report, you'll know my stance on this. And I'm personally a believer that the Raiders should trade away that 4th pick to get even more picks, right? When you're 4-12, you need to rebuild. So I'm going to ask everybody, better for the Raiders, trade or keep the 4th pick? Why don't you type K for keep, T for trade? If you're going to type K for keep, give me a reason why. If you're going to type T for trade, give me a reason why. Go to David Yost. So David.661_. Will the Raiders go 500 next year? True story. I talked to my mom about sports, and she knows absolutely nothing. I was telling her about the Raiders and going above 500. She asked me, do NFL teams actually play 500 games in a season? Swear to God. Raiders home games in 2019. We know it's the Broncos, we know it's the Chargers, and we know it's the Chiefs. Okay? Then you got the Titans. And then you got another tough road here with the Bears. This game's in London. The Lions, the Bengals, the Jaguars. Oh, my. It's a tough home slate. Then the away games. Again, no shit, Mitch. Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs. The Jets, who just added Le'Veon Bell, much better. The Vikings, a team who I think is going to be better. The Colts, serious contenders in the AFC. Packers, led by Aaron Rodgers, and the Houston Texans. Like, you guys want to ask me how many games are the Raiders going to win? They have a tough schedule, and if you look at the schedules in the NFL, the Raiders actually have the hardest one if you look at win percentage from the year before that. So you tell me right now, predict how many games the Raiders are going to win in 2019. because it's a tough schedule. And I see all the time, oh, the Raiders are going to win 12, 11, 10 games. They also play in the toughest division in the NFL. We won 4 games. You want my honest opinion? The Raiders are going to be an 8-8 team. Doubling your win total is actually really, really tough to do. And when you have all these holes still, I get it. We added a lot on offense. That defense is still a major, major concern for me. So for that reason, I'm typing 8-8. But I want to know from you, Facebook, YouTube, what will be the Raiders' record in 2019? I've already bet on how many games I think the Raiders are going to win. I did it at BetDSI, and you can too. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. If you don't want to bet on how many games the Raiders are going to win, you can bet on the NFL Draft. You can still bet on March Madness. Do it at the internet's #1 sports site, or sports book, BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. I know, I butchered it. All right, Bradley Daly, what you got? Iconic Brad. Iconic Brad. If there's one guy who I can almost, for Chucky Heads, believe it, baby, every morning that I have a message from, it's Iconic Brad. Not as weird as the message I got today, though, on Instagram. What's Derek Carr's predicted passing yards for 2019? Well, first, I'm going to show you what Derek Carr's done the last 4 years. All right, so we had a career high 4,049 yards this past year. 2017, 2016, 2015, all under 4,000 yards. But when we think about elite Derek Carr where he was an MVP caliber, I think of 2016 and I think of 2015, okay? And now I'm really, really excited to see what he can do with AB, what he can do with J.J. Nelson stretch the field. Tyrell Williams, sure, he loses his safety blanket in Jared Cook, who's now with the Saints, but I'll take the receivers that we have easily over what we had last year in Jared Cook. But that's just me. But again, I think when I look at Derek Carr, okay, there's a difference between putting up points and there's a difference between putting up stats, all right? Ben Roethlisberger is a great quarterback for fantasy and stats. I don't really think he's all that great when it comes to actual production on the field, right? So here's the Raiders wide receiver depth chart in 2019. I'm going to show it to you one more time before we get our predictions in for how many passing yards Carr is going to have. AB, top 5 wide receiver. Tyrell Williams, I think you could argue is a top 30 wide receiver. J.J. Nelson's going to be able to stretch the field with that 4.28 speed. And then, sure, for all you Seth Roberts lovers, he's our 4th. Marcel Aitman there at 5th. So I'm going to ask one more time, okay? How many passing yards for Derek Carr in 2019? I put it up before, over under at 4,200. Let me know. Comment below how many passing yards for Carr. If you want to know what I think, IG, Twitter, Mitchell Renz. 365. All right, Van Milton Gutierrez. Hopefully that's pronounced right. Burner's dad. So I actually follow Burner's dad. Posts some pretty interesting stuff, and Burner's a good dude. What in the hell is Chris Warren's weight? It's a great question. And why, if you guys don't know why this question's even being asked, there was a report that came out about a month ago that Chris Warren is up to 270 pounds, and he weighed 247 in 2018. And, you know, now that some more reports are coming out that he was trying to bulk up a little bit, and he's confident that he's going to be able to shed 20 pounds once April 15 rolls around because of the offseason workouts. So I actually don't know how much Chris Warren weighs, so I'm going to ask for a little bit of help. So Raider Nation, assemble. We need to tweet at Chris Warren. That is Chris Warren's Twitter handle. So what I need you to do is get that, tweet at him, okay, and ask him how much he weighs. And my fingers are crossed. My fingers are freaking crossed that I wake up tomorrow morning and I see Chris Warren and he tweets out, why the hell is everybody asking for my weight? So Raider Nation, let's get it done. How much does Chris Warren weigh? I'm counting on you. Now, I'm saying goodbye to commercials on television, and you should too. Go to the My TV Choice app. Download it today to get rid of commercials forever, all right? And then instead, you can watch me. You can watch content that we produce here on the Raiders Report. Look at that. Latest NFL headlines, we got it. You want NCAA scores? We got it. MyTVChoice.com. Download it today. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.